Hey gang, welcome back. This is DrBossKey, and tonight we have been busy adding a little bit of functionality to our secrets. So the feedback from this weekend's testing was that if you're working on getting the secret here like this,
Secret found,
which is awesome, gives you all these little cool bonus
extra
bits. But what we're finding is that people, when they were playing, they would often do this. And up until tonight, we didn't have any negative sound effect for that reinforcement that you didn't do something right. Because what people were doing, rightly so, is they would come over and they would collect this thing, right? And shoot 'em ups, you're always collecting something. And so they would just fly over it, even though the indicator comes up, right? And all of that. But you got a lot of stuff going on, so it's hard to understand. And eventually people kind of get it. But the suggestion was that if we added a little sound effect, it would become more immediate, potentially, when you didn't collect the secret that that you failed at doing it. So it maybe can help reinforce what's going on a little bit faster. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all of the secret logic. I'll just go do a quick overview. So, but because I've already done one of the videos on this, but I wanted to do this video because I thought something would be cool to show you here. So the very, very basic side of this is that we have the UI indicator that comes up. So we have the secret indicator as well. And essentially when this is collected, the inner secret area, this little secrety guy. Let's see here. Can I grab you? There we go. So when you collect the little nugget here, that's just basically an enemy that we've used. And if that enemy is collected, let's take a look here. Just double check this. Okay, make sure I don't save here. All right, so let me double check. Come on over here. Yeah, okay, cool. So basically, the short of it is that we spawn this enemy. This is the indicator. The enemy is the circular area. And then we have a trigger volume here, which is essentially when the player goes into the zone. So as long as they stay within the zone, all the conditions are true. And we start essentially a, when connected entity state is alive, we start a countdown sequence. These are all set to switch mode, which basically means that it's active and can be deactivated. So it's very, very nice in that respect. And then we basically go through a series of countdowns and countdown tones here. And at the end of it, we give you a little secret found on the final countdown tone, and then the secret found. And then we do a cleanup, which is basically to remove the circle AOE indicator and the sparkle. And then we have a little bit of logic then that gives you essentially the items that you find here. So okay, and then probably the other thing here is that because we have the rank system, once all of this is all cleaned up, we defeat this enemy, and then that gives us the indicator that you've collected the secret for the end ranking screen in the level. Okay, so then with all of that, what we need to do is we need to come back in here and we need to figure out how we could actually hook in the new logic. So here's the new logic. So the new logic is we basically set up a trigger, and this trigger is set to switch mode, and in connected entity state is all dead. So it basically means that if this, because we want a negative sound effect, we only want the negative sound effect to trigger if the player doesn't complete the secret, right? So that's why it's set to connected entity state is all dead. And then we have another trigger here, which essentially this is, okay, so if this is true, then we go, okay, cool, let's do another check real quick. And this trigger is set to connected entity state is all alive. And then we basically, I'm really into this these days, where you take an enemy and you basically make this enemy a bool. And basically a bool is just a true false statement. Because, as you can tell here, we have connected entity state can be alive, dead, all alive, some dead, or some alive, some dead. So that means that you can trigger other logic based on that. So what we did is we created a bool enemy here, and then we said, cool, this trigger, the second part of this trigger is, okay, enemy is dead. That's the circular enemy here. And then check, so that becomes true, then feed into this trigger. And this trigger is, hey, is this connected menu state alive? And if it's alive, then let's see here. So is yeah. So if it is alive, then we go cool. In that case, trigger the negative sound effect wave, right? So because once the countdown comes through here, we get down to the final countdown here, the final one. And what we do is not only do we trigger that, but we trigger a bunch of other logic for cleanup. But then we also call a kill condition or kill trigger here. And this kill trigger here is then going to kill this, this enemy. So then what happens is that when we leave the AoE area for the trigger volume of the player, so boop, and we know that we've completed the secret, then because we kill this logic is no longer valid, and the second trigger state checks against the Bool enemy for being alive, and it says, oh, hey, it's actually dead in this case, so then don't play the sound effect. I know that's a lot, but there's a couple of main takeaways here, right? One is that you can use enemies as essentially Bool checks. And from that gives you the ability to have more logical states that you can essentially code for or script for in the game, in the engine. And it's a bit advanced, but it's super, super helpful and very, very powerful. So, and that gives you essentially, again, to show you like this complex behavior that we have, right? Which is, yeah, it's here. So you can see what this is, right? Did I do this right? Ah, yeah. So with the secret here, I gotta make sure I don't save because I moved everything around. Oh, that's because I moved the secret over here like this here, just so I don't have the pressure. And so when you think about all the things that this particular setup is doing, right? So you have the secret indicator, and then you have the AoE indicator, and then you have that at any point, if the player leaves the inner circle, you have the countdown, by the way, 3, 2, 1, right? And at any point, if the player, while the sequence is happening, leaves the area effect, you want everything to then not trigger. You want it to be a failed condition, right? So there's quite a few things going on here, and it's possible because essentially,
secret found.
You have these kind of compound conditional checks, and you have the ability to use enemies for more than just being enemies. All right, I hope that's helpful. Talk to you everyone soon. Thank you.